Good day, everyone. Welcome to the lecture number 8 of soil mechanics. For this lecture video, we will discuss about the shear strength of soil. Let's start first with the definition. When we say shear strength of a soil mass, it is the internal resistance per unit area that the soil mass can offer to resist failure and sliding along any plane inside it. So, ito pwede rin nating sabihin na si shear strength, ito yung magnitude ng shear stress that the soil can carry. And it may be attributed to three basic components. First dyan is the frictional resistance to sliding between solid particles. So considering yung figure natin dito, let's say meron tayong isang malaking block ng soil located doon sa mismong slope ng isang hill. Siyempre, ang tendency na ito, possible mag-slide down yung etong block ng soil na to. So the higher the frictional resistance, so mas mataas din yung shear strength ng soil. When we say friction kasi, di ba, it is the force that resists motion when the surface of one object comes in contact with the surface of another. So, the higher the friction that is present sa mismong mga particles, so mas mataas din yung shear strength ng ating soil. Next is the cohesion and adhesion between particles. When we say cohesion, so this is the attraction naman between like particles, samantalang si adhesion, this is the attraction between unlike particles. So, itong dalawa na to, basically about the attraction between particles. So, the higher the attraction, syempre, mas mataas din yung value ng kanyang shear strength. And then last, interlocking and bridging of solid particles to resist deformation. When we say interlocking and bridging, so parang nagkakaroon ng link, or pwede nating sabihin na naglalak closely together yung ating mga solid particles, so parang nakukompress sila sa isa't isa. So with that, tumataas din yung value ng shear strength of soil. And then noong 1900s, si Christian Otto Moore presented a theory for rupture in materials that contended that a material fails because of a critical combination of normal stress and shear stress. So yung rupture daw ng isang material sa hindi dahil dun sa maximum normal stress or maximum shear stress na na-experience niya. It is dahil daw dun sa critical combination ng dalawang yun. So not necessarily maximum to maximum or let's say normal stress to maximum shear stress. Not necessarily ganun yung case, no? So, ang sabi dito sa theory niya, so yung combination ng normal stress and shear stress na critical, yun yung nagkakos ng failure sa isang material. And based on this theory, nag-formulate si Moore ng isang functional relationship between the normal stress and the shear stress. So, according to this, so si shear stress daw at failure can be represented as a function of normal stress. So, ito na para siyang sa mathematics, algebra kasi, para siyang si y is equal to f of x. I think familiar naman dito, no? So, dito basically, si normal stress is plotted on the horizontal axis and then si shear stress naman is plotted on the vertical axis. So, parang tayo nagko-coordinate na merong x-coordinate, y-coordinate. So, pinagkaiba lang dito, yung x-coordinates natin is the normal stress and mga y-coordinates naman is magiging yung mga shear stress natin. The figure plane defined by the equation on the previous slide is a curved line. For most soil mechanics problems, it is sufficient to approximate the shear stress on the figure plane as a linear function of the normal stress. So this is naman according to Charles Agustin Coulomb, 1776. So dinagdagan niya lang yung functional relationship na pinakita ni Moore. So sabi niya dito, so si shear stress at failure daw is equal lang to the C plus sigma tan phi. So ito naman siguro, kung mas ma-familiar kayo, no? Ito naman para siyang yung slope-intercept form natin. So y is equal to mx plus p. And by the way, yung meaning ng C dito, no, is the cohesion. The phi is the angle of internal friction or minsan tinatawag din siyang strain friction angle. And then si sigma, syempre the normal stress and then si shear strength or the shear strength at failure. Kaya meron tayong subscript na F dito. So sabi natin, so para sa math, sa analytic geometry. So, etong si y, basically siya si tau f. And then si b dito, so si b kasi pagdating kay analytic geometry, diba yan yung y-intercept. So, kung saan nag-cross yung line natin dun sa ating vertical axis. So, dito naman kay more column failure criterion. So, ito yung pinaka y-axis natin. Or y-intercept, sorry. And then, ito namang tan theta. So, di ba pagdating kasi dito, etong m dito, that's the slope of that line. That corresponds naman dito kay tan phi. And then, si x, so diba parang sa previous sabi kasi natin, tau f is equal to function of sigma. So, yung x doon, which is the sigma, so yun din yung epsilon dito. In saturated soil, the total normal stress at a point is the sum of the effective stresses, the sigma prime, and the pore water pressure U. Or we have the total normal stress na sigma is equal to the effective stress plus the pore water stress. Actually, ito lang din yung formula natin pagdating kay effective stress, di ba? So, kay stresses in soil kasi, so nire-refer natin si effective stress at P sub E, which is equal lang kay total stress or total pressure minus the pore water pressure. So, actually, ito lang din yan. So, iba lang yung ginamit na symbols and notation, no? The effective stress sigma prime is carried by the soil solids. So, the Moore column failure criterion expressed in terms of effective stress will be in the form na ganito. So, dito, ang ginawa lang natin, no? Mukha pa rin naman siya nung, Moore column failure criterion, pero yung mga parameters natin is meron lang prime to indicate na it is in terms of effective stress. So, ito kasing nasa previous. So, ito is based on the total stresses. So, kapag walang prime, so total stresses. Kapag merong prime, so effective stresses. The cohesion based on effective, and angle of internal friction based on effective stress. And for the value ng C prime, so meron tayong ano dito. So, for sand and inorganic silt, so C prime is equal to 0 for normally consolidated clay. So, C prime is approximately equal to 0. For our consolidated clays, so greater than 0 naman na yung ating C prime. And then yung ating angle of friction, so yung ating phi prime, so meron mga typical values dito sa table. Yung reference pala natin dito is galing kay Braha M. Dasno. So, doon ko rin kinuha itong table actually. So, yan yung mga values ng phi prime, depende dun sa klase ng soil. And then dito naman, so considering we have a stress block, so sa stress block, kumuha tayo ng representative block. So from a cross-section ng soil, so namili tayo ng isang element doon. Parang ito yung itsura niya. So dito, papakita lang natin yung mga stresses na nag-act sa kanya. So along the sides ng pinaka stress block natin, so doon nag-act yung ating so, sigma x, tapos dito sigma y, and then meron tayong shear stress. So considering the failure plane AB, so merong nag-act sa kanya na sigma prime and then tau. So ito naman yung figure natin. Para mas maintindihan natin, no? Dito tayo sa next slide. So let the effective normal stress and shear stress on the plane AB be sigma prime and tau respectively. So figure B shows the plot of the failure envelope defined by the equation 3. So itong equation 3, yan yung ating tau F is equal to C prime plus sigma prime tan T prime. So, yun yung equation 3 natin, no? So, nandito naman yan, naka-label naman. So, yan. Ito, equation 3. So, based sa figure na to, sabi, unahin natin. So, yung normal and shear stress daw on the plane AB, sigma prime and tau. So, ito yung nandito sa figure na to. Oh, sorry, ito yung napindot. So, ito yung failure plane AB natin, itong blue na solid line dito. So, yung stress daw dyan, normal and shear. So, sigma prime and tau. And then, yung figure B natin shows the plot of the failure envelope defined by the equation 3. So, kung i-drawing mo to, di ba, sabi natin, so parang slope-intercept form. So, pag drawing mo yun, so parang line siya. So, ito yung line na yun, yung nasa figure B daw. So, ito yun. And then, etong C prime, di ba sabi natin, dun sa y is equal to mx plus b. So, pagdating kay equation 3, si b kasi yan yung ating c prime. So, si c prime or the y-intercept, so saan nag-intersect yung ating figure envelope na line dun sa mismong vertical axis. So, yun yung c prime. Next, ano bang sabi dito sa ano pa? So, if the magnitudes of sigma prime and tau on the plane AB are such that they plot as A, the figure B, shear failure will not occur. So, kapag yung plot daw ng ating sigma prime and tau is located such that it is point A dito sa ating figure na to, so yung failure daw will not occur. Sabi dito, highlight natin. So, shear failure will not occur along the plane. Samantalang kapag yung plot naman ng AB is the point B, which is nandun mismo kay failure envelope natin, so dun naman nagkakaroon ng shear failure. So, shear failure will occur along that plane. And then, kapag nandun naman kay point C, so cannot exist because it plots above the failure envelope. So, basically dito, no? So, itong failure envelope natin, so nandyan yung failure. So, kapag yung corresponding na combination ng normal and shear stress is plotted below the failure envelope, so hindi pa nagkakaroon ng shear failure. And then, kapag yung point naman, for example, si point P, nandun mismo kay failure envelope, so that's when magkakaroon ng shear failure na. Samantalang dito naman kay point C, kung papansin nyo, so nasa labas na siya or nasa taas na siya ng failure envelope. So ito cannot exist daw, basically. So nandito mag-a-act kasi yung failure sa ating failure envelope. So bago pa makarating yung stress dyan sa values ng normal stress and shear stress na yan, syempre nag-occur na yung shear failure. And then next, for the Mohr circle. So when we say Mohr circle, it is actually a graphical representation, no? So, graphical method na ginagamit to determine the values ng normal and shear stress at any rotation of the stress block. So in the figure below, FGH is the failure envelope defined by the relationship. So ganun pa rin. So ito naman FGH dito. So ito yung equation 3 natin kapag plinat yung line na yon. And then the radial line AB defines the major principal CD. So itong radial AB, ito siya. Lang ay mapindot. Itong radial line AB na to, so ito daw yung CD natin. So ito yung plane CD natin dito kay stress block. And then the radial line AD, so ito naman yung radial line AD, gamit na lang ako ibang kulay. So radial line AD, so siya naman yung dito kay EF. So ito siya, dun sa ating stress block. So yung ibang ano no, mamaya natin explain yung iba't ibang parameters na nandyan. And then pagdating kay Mohr circle, so kapag nagko-convert kasi tayo from stress block papunta kay Mohr circle, so yung theta dito by the way, ang tawag natin dyan is the angle of failure. Kasi ito yung failure plane natin. So itong orientation ng ating angle of failure, no? So hindi naman necessary galing siya dito kay bottom ng stress block. So possible measured dyan dito. Si ito yung theta. Pwede rin ito yung theta. Possible yung mga ganyang cases, no? Basta ang rule natin pagdating kay Mohr circle, so yung theta mo dito kay stress block, pag i-convert mo siya papunta dito, magiging 2 theta. And it can be shown that angle BAD, so angle BAD, ito siya equal to 2 theta, wherein that 2 theta is equal lang to 90 degrees plus T. So kung ito yung ating phi, no, nandyan, so considering this triangle, so etong triangle F, A, and D, so nandito yung 90 degrees, balik ko lang sa kulay black. Siyempre, ito is 90 degrees kasi ito is point of tangency. And then, kung ipoproject natin ito, so, di ba, ito rin naman is 90 degrees. So, dito kasi, based sa figure, so, kung considering triangle F, tapos ito, tapos A, so, etong angle na nandito is, so, 90 degrees na yan. So, ito is 90 minus P. So, ganun din, ito is 90 degrees. So, basically, yung angle na nandito, so, ito rin is equal to, So, yung angle na to, so yan is basically equal lang din to P. Kaya nasabi natin na yung 2 theta is equal lang kay 90 degrees. So, right angle plus P. And then from here, syempre, simplify natin. So, divide mo yung 2 dun sa bawat side ng ating equation. So, pwede natin masabi na si angle of failure is equal lang kay 90 divided by 2, that's 45, plus kalahati ng P. So, actually, ito yung formula natin na ginagamit no, for the angle of failure. And siguro no, para mas maintindihan si Mohr circle, so try natin to explain in a more detailed way. So for example, we have a stress block. I'll be using black ink na lang, no? And then ito is, kasi merong nag-act na tensile force sa kanya. So kapag ganito yung case natin, basically ang na-experience lang ng ating soil or stress block, soil block, yung representative block natin is normal stress lang din since tensile nga yung nag-act sa kanya. However, so hindi naman kasi laging ganito yung orientation ng ating stress block. Kasi for example, sa isang kumpol ng soil na nandyan, so namili ka ng stress block, so hindi naman necessary naka-horizontal talaga yung tsura, no? So possible din kasi, say ganito yung orientation ng stress block na i-consider natin. So meron siyang angle na theta from the horizontal. So dito, kung gusto natin kunin yung normal stress, so let's say merong nag-act na tensile pa rin na pag ganito. So papansinin natin with respect to the stress block, so hindi na naka-align yung force sa mismong stress block natin. So yung stress, say, dito mapuproduce, meron ditong tensile. And then, kung papansinin nyo, no, so hindi na magka-align yung stress dun sa direction ng tensile force natin. So basically, to counteract that, so tignan nyo dito. So eto horizontal lang, di ba? Tapos samantalang etong normal stress natin is acting upward to the right. So parang merong vertical component na. And to counteract that, so syempre nagkaka-produce din ng normal stress dito or shear stress, sorry. Basically, ganito yung itsura, yung state ng stresses naman natin at a rotated na stress block from horizontal na theta. Diba sabi kasi natin, si Mohr circle, so it is a diagram that says the value of normal and shear stress at any rotation of the stress block. So, yun yung kagandahan ni Mohr circle, no? So, regardless kung ano yung orientation ng ating stress block, so pwede nating mahanap yung normal and shear stress sa kanya. And then dito, no? So, si shear stress kasi or si Mohr circle is nami-meet siya kay structural and then kay geotechnical engineering, no? Kailangan lang natin liwanagin dito yung ating mga sign convention. So, kapag si Mohr circle, nakita nyo kay structural problem, say deformable bodies, combination of stresses, and then HGE. So, ang sign convention natin, pagdating kay normal stress, so tensile ay positive, and then syempre, negative T, compression. Samantalang kay HG naman, so ang ating positive is decompression. Tapos, negative syempre si tension. So, yan yung sign convention natin no, pagdating kay normal and shear stress. Another is, so pagdating naman kay shear, pagdating kay stroke, so ang counterclockwise, actually parehas naman sila, no? So, parehas na counterclockwise positive ang convention natin. And then, ang nakakalito kasi minsan is ever na hindi nyo pa sila na-meet, both structural tapos HG. So, meron pagkakaiba dun sa pagdodrawing, no, sa paghanap ng stress on the figure plane. Pero dito kasi, ang pinagkaiba nila, no, so pagdating kay struck, so, di ba sabi natin si normal and shear stress, so para siyang horizontal and vertical axis. So, kay structural, so nandito si positive na normal stress. And then si positive na shear stress is directed downward. Samantalang kay HG, so ito yung normal, no? So, positive to the right, kay normal, and then upward yung positive na shear stress. So, yung pinagkaiba ng convention for these structural problems and geotechnical problems, no? And then siguro para mas mag-get, so try natin mag-sample. Hindi pa naman ito yung mismong sample natin pagdating kay shear strength. So, sampalan lang natin paano mag-construct ng more circle. So, for example, we have a stress block. So, yun yung pinaka-stress block natin. And then, merong nag-act na, palit ako ng kulay siguro. So, vertical. So, let's say dito, you have 300 kPa. So, syempre, ito is 300 din. And then, on the horizontal, merong 120. So, yan yung mga normal stresses, no? And take note, syempre, HGE tayo, technical engineering. So, ang sign convention natin is compression, positive. And then, let's say, merong shear na nag-act sa kanya. Say, ito is 40. So, that's counterclockwise. And then, ito naman, clockwise. So, ito is 40 din. And then, meron tayong failure plane from the bottom. Let's say, ito siya. Ang value niyan ay 20 degrees. So, theta is equal to 20 degrees. Ngayon, kung hahanapin natin, kasi pangalanan natin, this is plane A, ito is B. So, let's say sa problem na to, hinahanap what is the normal and shear stress at the figure plane AB. So, para mahanap yun, so kung naka, ano sana to, no? Kung wala sanang shifting or rotation na mismo failure plane natin, kung horizontal sana or vertical lang, so madali lang hanapin siya. Kasi parang ano lang siya, parang normal na formula ng stress, so sigma is equal to P over A. However, pagdating kasi dito, so shifted na, so rotated na, so pwede natin itong gamitan ng more circle. So sa pagko-construct ng more circle, so sabi natin, 'di ba? Si normal and shear stress, so para siyang x-coordinate and y-coordinate sa ating Cartesian coordinate plane. So dito pwede nating malaman. So, unahin natin yung nasa vertical, no? So, 300 na compression. So, basically, that's 300. So, etong mga, ano, no? Mga actual natin dito, yan yung mga normal stress. Tapos yung mga, ano, 40 dito, yan naman yung shear stress natin. So, dito, so merong 300 na normal stress, tapos merong 40 na shear stress. So, yung 40 na to, ang orientation yan, diba? Ang rotation yan is counterclockwise. So, positive compression, 300. And then, counterclockwise, positive. So, 340. So, ito para siyang isang point na dun sa ating Mohr circle. And considering naman ito nasa horizontal, so merong, so compression pa rin na 120. So, positive yung normal stress niya. And then, dito naman, so 40 pa rin yung value ng shear stress. However, it is clockwise. So, kapag clockwise, that is negative kasi counterclockwise ang positive natin dito. So, basically, etong dalawang point na to ay point na dun sa mismong more circle natin. So, try nating i-drawing. So, plot natin tong dalawa. Let's say, somewhere here, yung ating 340. So, medyo mahirap lang, no? Kasi naka-PowerPoint ako. Kung naka-OneNote sana, mas madali mag-drawing ng mga straight lines and circles, no? So, let's say, eto yung ating 300 and positive 40. So, ito is, ito yung convention natin. So, positive sa taas. Then, dito rin. So, positive the right. And then, ito naman isa. So, 120 tapos negative 40. So, tansyahin na lang natin. Right about here siguro. So, ito naman yung ating 120 negative 40. So, etong dalawang point na to is basically, yan na yung diameter ng ating. Pag pinag-connect natin yung dalawang point na to, ito na yung diameter ng ating Mohr circle. And these 2 points are located on the mismong circle. So, kailangan natin mag-drawing dito ng circle, no? So, bang magandang kulay ang pang-drawing? Siguro red na lang. Hindi kasi tayo pwedeng mag-blue. So, tansyahin na lang natin. Ito yung mahirap dito eh, mag-drawing. So, importante, tumama dun sa 2 point. So, pagpasensyahan nyo na lang yung drawing ko, no? So, let's say, imagine, circle yan. So, ito yung 2 point natin, no? So, 340, 100, negative, 120, negative 40. And then, hanapin natin, nasan naman si figure plane AB. So, di ba ang rule? So, yung theta dito, kapag ililipat mo kay Moore circle, dapat times 2. So, yung theta na yan is magiging 40 dito. Pero before that, so tignan natin sa paano yung rotation ng figure plane doon sa mismong stress block. So, ito is para siyang counterclockwise from this bottom ng mismong block natin, di ba? So, counterclockwise. So, ang tanong dito, so ano ito kasi 340 din, no? So, 340, so saan ba yan dun sa mismong Moore circle natin? So, para lang siguro mas madali, no? So, imagine nyo, so dito sa bottom ng ating block, so ang nag-act na stress dyan, so 300 normal, 40 na shear. Doon sa ating Moore circle, so di ba ito siya mismo? So, etong point na ito. So, yan yung point na yan. So, dito, papansinin ninyo, so mula dun sa 340 na yan, merong rotation na 20 degrees counterclockwise. Basically, ganun din yung mangyari, no? So, mula dito sa point na yan, so iikot mo ng counterclockwise kasi counterclockwise yung ikot dito. So, kung 20 degrees dyan, so dito ang ikot, 40 degrees. So, try lang natin ipag-connect muna ito, no? So, ito yung diameter ng ating Moore circle, and then nandito banda yung center. And then, umikot ng 40 degrees. So, siguro yung yellow na lang gawin ko dito. So, 40 degrees. So, tansyahan na lang ulit. So, ang rotation na to, so, mula lang sa 340, umikot ng counterclockwise. So, ito yung 40 degrees. So, parin ko na lang siguro ito. No? So, ito na yung ating failure plane AB. So, yung katumbas na itong failure plane AB na to, sa stress block. So, papunta kay Moore circle. Ngayon dito, no, ang tinatanong, say, what is the normal stress at failure plane AB? So, dito, para mahanap yun, so dalawa kasi, no? So, possible na coordinate. Ito isa, tapos ito, pangalawa. So, dito rin, magiging importante yung rotation, no? So, take note, si angle dito kasi na theta is taken from the 340. So, basically, yung i-consider mo din na figure plane or value ng stresses is galing dun sa stress na yun na 340. So, dito, ang kukunin natin is yung parang pinaka-coordinate na nung point P naman na nandito. Kung sana yung angle is taken, ito syempre, parallel angles. So, ito rin ay 40 degrees. Kung yung figure plane kasi natin is taken sana 20 degrees from this vertical na side ng ating stress block. So, doon naman yung case wherein kukunin mo yung coordinate ng point A dito. Pero dito, since yung ating rotation, yung figure plane AB dito sa stress block is taken 20 degrees counterclockwise from 340. So, ang kailangan natin kunin na coordinate is the point P. Tapos, binabagit ko na coordinate, no? Basta pag ang tinutukoy ko sa coordinate, ito yung normal and shear stress values niya dito sa ating plane. So, para mahanap yung coordinate na ito, so let's say sabihin natin, ito ay merong coordinate na, say, sigma AB and then tau AB. So, kailangan nating hanapin ano yung value ng dalawang yan. So, para siyang coordinate ka lang din kasi nga parang meron horizontal and vertical axis lang naman tayo dito. So, to do that, syempre, kailangan mo natin hanapin yung iba't ibang parts ng ating Moore circle. So, una dyan, syempre, location ng center. So, kung ipoproject natin, magandang kulay. So, ipoproject ko ito. Tapos, ipoproject ko rin ito. So, yung coordinate nila, so ito, 40 upward. Ito naman, 40 downward. So, itong part na to, let's say, ito is y. So, ito ang kabila na to is y din. And then, ito, so, syempre, center ito. Etong x-coordinate ng point na to, di ba 120, tapos yung x-coordinate or horizontal coordinate naman nito is 300. So, pwede nating sabihin na yung average ng dalawang yan, yun na yung x-coordinate naman ng ating center. So, ito kasi pwede natin sabihin, let's say, ito is x din. Kailangan ko lang. So, from that, pwede nyo sabihin na 120 plus dalawang x ay equal to 300. So, mula dito, pwede mo mahanap yung value ng x. Ilan ba yan? 90? Medyo masakit sa mata yung red, ah. So, 90. So, etong x na yan, so basically 90, 90, no? So, that's 120 plus 180. So, tama, 300. So, pwede mo mahanap ano yung location ngayon ng ating center ng more circle. So, 120 yung x-coordinate ng point na to. So, kung nakikisa yung tinutur ng circle, dagdagan mo ng 90. So, 120 plus 90, that's 210. So, yung location ngayon ng center mo, so yung center mo is located at coordinate na 210, 0. So, ito yung normal, ito yung shear, diba? So, 210 yung location na ito. Ngayon, considering this triangle, or kahit ito naman din sa baba, pares lang din. Ilabas ko na lang para mas ma-gets yung figure, no? So, ito yung center, ito yung point B, or yung 340. So, ito yung y natin, which is equal lang to 40. And then yung x natin equal lang to 90. So, etong point na to, pupunta dun sa mismong point na 340. So, basically, yan yung pinaka-radius na ng ating more circle. So, ito medyo konting trigo analytic geometry, no? So, para mahanap yung r natin, this is equal lang sa Pythagorean theorem, 90 squared plus 40 squared. So, yung radius natin is equal to 10 square root of 97. So, meron na tayong value ng r. So, ano ba yung kailangan natin? So, considering point B na kasi yung target natin makuha na coordinate, no? So, considering point B, so, ito yung triangle niya, no? So, let's say, ito pa rin yung center. So, medyo exage ko na yung pagkaka-slant niya para mas maganda yung pagkakadrawing dito, no? So, ito yung point B. Ito yung center. So, ito is the value ng tau, AB na mismo. And then, ito naman, si pangalanan nating Z. So, as you can see, so si Z is measured from the center. So, yun yung x-coordinate ng B. So, yung x-coordinate ng B or yung ating mismong sigma AB. So, equal siya kay, so, x-coordinate ng ating center, that's 210, di ba? So, 210 plus C dito. And then, ito, let's say, pangalanan na nating alpha. So, ano ba yung value ng alpha dun sa ating figure? So, yung alpha, let's say, ito naman kay radius kanina, pangalanan nating beta ito. So, si beta, we have tan beta, so trigonometry, no? Opposite 40, adjacent 90. So, from here, we can find that the value of beta is 23.962. Ngayon, kung etong beta na to, so sa figure, di ba, ito si beta. And then si alpha, yung angle of inclination ng C to B from the horizontal is 40 degrees plus beta. So basically, yung alpha dito is 40 plus beta, or that is 63.962. 0.962 degrees. So, since meron tayong value ng alpha, so pwede nating ma-solve si Z dito tapos si tau AB. So, unahin na natin si Z siguro, no? So, si Z dyan, sa triangle lang ulit, trigonometric functions. So, adjacent, and then ito pa rin, no? Ito is the radius pa rin naman. So, from center to point B, si point B nasa mismong circle natin. So, we'll be using cosine 63.962 so equal to adjacent na Z divided by radius ng 10 square root of 97. So, Z is equal to 10 square root of 97 cosine 63.962. So, we have 43.233. So, para mahanap yung value ng ating sigma AB, dadagdag lang natin dyan. Dadagdagan mo ng 210. So, equal ngayon to 253. Sorry. 253.233. So, wala namang value. Let's say ang value ng mga to is KPA, no? Lagyan na lang din natin dito is KPA. So, yan na yung normal stress at failure plane AB natin. So, hanapin naman natin yung shear stress. So, yung shear stress, check na natin kung may space pa. Merong bakante dito. So, for the shear stress, AB, so based on sa figure natin, sa triangle na to, so si tau AB, so opposite side, so sin alpha, medyo lagang. So, sin 63.962. So, papansinin nyo dito, si tau AB is nasa opposite side. So, opposite divided by hypotenuse. So, we have tau AB divided by hypotenuse na radius, that's 10 square root of 97. So, dito, yung value ng ating tau AB is 10 square root of 97 sin 63.962. That is equal to 88.492. Say that's in kPa. So, yan na yung mga values ng normal and shear stress along figure plane AB. That is using the Mohr circle. And then dito, hindi lang naman yun yung mga parts na usually tinatanong dito. So, pwede rin itanong what is the maximum normal stress dun sa stress block natin. So, pag sinabi nating maximum normal stress, ito yung pinakamataas na value ng normal stress. So, nasan ba yun? Nandito. So, eto yung sigma. Palit nga ako ng kulay. Hindi nabura. Ang balik natin. Bakit natuloy? So, yellow na lang siguro. So, yung point na yan yung pinakamataas na value ng normal stress natin. So, yan yung ating sigma max. And then, ganun din, for the value ng tau max, pinakamataas na value ng shear stress. So, pwedeng etong highest point or lowest point ng ating Mohr circle. So, positive or negative man. Pag sinabi nating maximum, nandun din mismo si pinakataas. So, ano ba yung pinakataas na yan? So, yan is equivalent lang din dun sa radius ng ating Mohr circle. So, yung point na to, nandito yung ating tau max. Basically, ganun, no? And then, eto pala. So, yung mga point dun sa mismong Mohr circle natin that touches the horizontal axis. So, eto yon si tau max. Tapos, etong part na to. So, ang tawag natin sa mga point na yan, sa mga stress na yan ay principal stresses. So, kay shear strength, so minsan ito tinatawag na sigma 3. Ito naman, tinatawag na sigma 1. So, para mamaya kay reaction test. So, ganoon na yung paggamit ng ating Mohr circle sa paghahanap ng stresses at rotated na figure plane. So, take note, theta na nandito, no? So, lagi kayong magbigay saan naka-reference. So, kung mula man doon sa bottom, doon sa 340, o kaya doon sa 120. Papakita naman yan doon sa mismong problem, no? If ever na ganitong klase yung ibibigay. Next, so for the laboratory test for shear strength parameter, so there are several laboratory methods now available to determine the shear strength parameters. So ito yung ating cohesion and angle of internal friction for total stress and effective stress of various soil specimen in the laboratory. So ito yung mga yun daw na available na ngayon. So, direct shear test, triaxial test, direct simple shear test, plane strain, triaxial test, and then torsional ring shear test. Although ito merong 5, pero yung pinakamadalas kasi na gamiting technique or method is the direct shear test and triaxial test. So yun actually yung mas bibigyan natin ng focus ngayon, no? So proceed tayo kay direct shear test. So ganito naman yung setup, no, pagdating kay direct shear test. So meron tayong shear box kung saan nilalagay yung ating soil specimen. So the soil specimen may be square or circular in plan. The size of the specimens generally used is about 51 by 51 mm or 102 by 102 mm. So that's 2 by 2 inch or 4 by 4 inch across to about a 1 inch or 25 mm na height. So dito, the normal stress on the specimen can be as great as 1050 kPa and or 150 psi. So shear force is applied by moving one half of the box relative to the other to cause failure in the soil specimen. So dito, meron tayong loading plate kung saan naglalagay ng normal force. So pabigat, something like that. So ang nangyari dito, so habang dinadagdagan yung value ng shear ng normal stress dito, so nagkakaroon din tayo ng shear force. So na-induce din, nag-apply din ng shear force dito para maigalaw yung one half ng part ng ating box para mag-generate naman ng shear stress. So dito, normal force, syempre normal stress. So dito naman kaya, no, shear force, so syempre nandun si shear stress. And then, pagdating kay direct shear test, so meron tayong dalawang klase. So ito yung una, stress control test. Pagdating dito, so the shear force is applied in equal increments until the specimen fails. So the failure occurs along the plane of the split of the shear box. After the application of each incremental load, so the shear displacement of the top half of the box is measured by a horizontal plane. So when we say shear or stress control test, ang ginagawa dito, no? So yung stress coming from the shear box, actually, nagkakaroon ng increment. Let's say, una, nakalagay na stress is, let's say, 50. Tapos magdadagdag ulit ng 50 kPa, ng 50 kPa, ng 50 kPa, and so on, hanggang mag-fill yung ating specimen. Ngayon, sabi dito, so the failure occurs along the plane of split of the shear box. So yung failure na yun is mag-occur dito mismo. So, syempre, ito, minalagyan ko lang ng space sa figure, pero magkadikit yan in wall, no? So, dyan mag-occur yung failure natin. And then, so the change in the height of the specimen and thus the volume change during the test can be obtained from the reading of a dial that measures the vertical movement of the upper loading plate. So, dito, no? So, ulitin lang natin. So, pagdating kay stress control, so equal increments ng stress yung ina-apply. So, kung nag-fail na, so basically, para malaman natin ano yung, say, normal stress or shear stress niya at failure. So, the previous na load increment minus the present na load increment kung saan nag-cause na ng failure. No? So, basically, ganun nahahanap ano yung critical na value ng stresses niya. And then, the other type is strain controlled naman. So, dito, a constant rate of shear displacement is applied to one half of the box by a motor that acts through gears. So, dun kay stress, so equal increments. So, dito naman, so constant rate ng shear displacement so by a motor or through gears. And then the resisting shear force of the soil corresponding to any shear displacement can be measured by the horizontal proving. So, ganun pa rin pagdating kay volume change. So, dito ng advantage lang actually ng mas okay, si strain control. So, dito kasi kay stress control, so ang na-measure lang natin is the peak resistance. So, di ba sabi natin, let's say, nagkaroon ng failure. Let's say that's, ang load increment mo na, let's say, 1,200. Tapos, yung previous dito, let's say, 1,150. So, nung 1,150 pa lang yung stress niya, so hindi pa nag-fail. Saan na yun? So, nung 1,150, hindi pa nag-fail, pero nung 1,200 na nag-fail na. So, basically, yung failure is nangyari between these two range ng increments. So, doon mo mahanap yung persistence ng soil natin. So, basically, yun lang yung na-determine natin, no? However, pagdating kasi kay strain control, so, pagdating kay strain control, so imagine niyo yung stress strain diagram natin. So, aside from the picture resistance, so nahahanap din using strain control test yung ultimate resistance. So, parang siyang ultimate strength din kay shear strain diagram. So, ito yung figure, no? Ito yung sinasabi natin. So, pagdating kay strain control, so meron nahanap natin yung picture strength niya and yung ultimate shear strength din. Pagdating kasi kay stress control, so picture lang yung nahahanap natin sa kanya. So, yung picture kasi, ito yung nakukuha natin dun sa so, yung sinasabi natin kanina 1,050, yung pagitan ng 1,050 tapos 1,200. And then the direct shear tests are repeated on a similar specimen at various normal stresses. So the normal stresses and the corresponding values of shear obtained from a number of tests are plotted on a graph from which the shear strength parameters are determined. The figure shows such plot for dry sand. The equation of the average line obtained from the experimental results is ito. So, para lang din siyang yung more column failure criterion natin. Pero take note, ito kasi is for dry sand. So, di ba nabanggit natin na for dry sand, so yung value ng C natin is equal to 0. So, para lang din siyang ito yung merong plus, C plus sigma tan phi kanina. So, dito lang kasi ang value ng C natin kasi nga dry sand is 0. So, ito yung X or Y-intercept ng ating line. So, ang ginagawa, so inuulit-ulit yung direct shear test. So, dun sa parehas na specimen, pero magkakaiba yung value ng normal stresses. So, yung mga normal stress na yun, syempre meron corresponding na shear stress. So, ito yung mga point na yun, no? And by the way, itong hidden line dyan, broken line. So, ayan is yung graph naman kapag effective stresses. So, dito ang ginagawa natin, so para tayo nagbe-best line fitting. So, hindi naman actually talaga maglalay doon sa isang line yung mga point na yan. So, ang ginagawa natin, so, approximate lang natin yung line na magpapass near doon sa lahat ng point na yon. So, yung approximation ng line na yon, so ito din siya mismo. So, value lang ng C dito is 0. So, para siyang equation 2. Pag equation 3, ito yung merong mga prime dito. And then next, for the triaxial test, so ito medyo complicated, no? So, medyo maraming part yung ating triaxial test. Napindot. So, in this test, a soil specimen about 36 mm or 1.4 inch in diameter and 76 mm or 3 inch long generally is used. So, the specimen is encased by a thin rubber membrane and placed inside a plastic cylindrical chamber that usually is filled with water or glycerin. So, ito mismo yung specimen natin. So, nilalagay siya sa isang rubber membrane. And then, yung pinaka-rubber membrane na yun is enclosed pa by a chamber kung saan naglalagay ng water or glycerin. So, the specimen is subjected to confining pressure by compression of the fluid in the chamber. So, dito, etong water kasi or glycerin minsan, so, pwede yang gawing pressurized. So, yun yung nagkukos ng confining pressure dun sa mismong specimen na natin na nasa loob ng rubber membrane. And then to cause shear failure in the specimen, so one must apply axial stress to the vertical loading ram. So ito naman yung loading ram natin. So mag-apply dyan ng axial load to cause the shear failure. So this stress can be applied in one of two ways. The application of dead weights or hydraulic pressure in equal increments. Ito is basically para siyang stress control kay direct shear test. And then yung pangalawa niya, so parang ganun din kay direct shear test, no? So para din siyang strain. So based on the deformation naman. So constant rate. So ito, constant rate ng application ng dead weights or hydraulic pressure. Para siyang stress and strain control test din kay direct shear test. So the axial load applied by the loading ram corresponding to a given axial deformation is measured by a probing rim or load cell attached to the ram. Connections to measure drainage into or out of the specimen, or to measure pressure in the pore water, so as per the test condition, are also provided. The following three standard types of triaxial tests generally are conducted. So meron tayong CD test, consolidated drain, CU test, consolidated and drain, and then the UU test, so unconsolidated and drain. So para mas mabilis magets itong tatlo na to, no? Ito actually yung figure natin. So ang nangyari kasi, so medyo mahaba-haba pa kasi yung explanation ng bawat test na yun, no? Pero dito, imagine na lang, meron tayong dalawang phase. So phase 1 dito sa left, phase 2 dito sa right. So at phase 1, so ang stress lang na nag-act dun sa ating soil specimen is the confining pressure. So ito yung galing dun sa mismong tubig natin dun sa chamber. So dun sa figure. So ito yung stress na nandito sa water. So yung confining pressure natin yun yung sigma 3. So phase 1 yun pa lang yung nag-act. And then, so under all around cell pressure nga. So ito yung cell pressure or confining pressure. So is the drainage valve open? Kapag yes, so ang mangyayari, makakonsolidate kasi yung ating cell sample. Siyempre, yung mismong sample natin naging saturated na siya. Since merong connection ng water pupunta doon sa mismong specimen din natin. So kapag merong confining pressure or cell pressure, so basically, makukompress yung ating soil specimen or ang right term na makakonsolidate siya. So makakonsolidate siya, syempre kapag may drainage, so yung tubig dun sa saturated soil natin, so ma-expel, so kaya consolidated. Pero syempre kapag clinose mo, syempre hindi naman makakalabas yung pressure dun sa or yung tubig dun sa ating mismong soil sample. So kahit gaano value ng compress or kahit gaano pa kataas yung value ng sigma 3 natin dito, so hindi makakonsolidate kasi nga sarado yung drainage valve kung saan may expel sana yung water natin. So yan yung phase 1. So pagdating kay phase 2, so yung ating confining pressure, so dadagdagan pa siya ng additional loading. So ito naman is nanggagaling sa ating loading ram, no? So etong delta sigma, so tinatawag din siyang deviator stress or plunger stress. So kapag ganito yung case, so is the drainage valve open? Kapag yes, so drain. Kapag no, so undrained naman. So parang ganito, same principle lang din dito kay phase 1. So dinagdagan lang ng stress na experience. Basically, kung kay phase 1, consolidated, or kung kay phase 1, open yung drainage valve, tapos kay phase 2, open yung drainage valve, consolidated, drain siya. Pero let's say, for example, ano ba yung mga test na nandito? So, C. So, si CU naman, consolidated and drain. So, si consolidated and drain, so open yung valve phase 1, pero close valve naman kapag phase 2. Then, kay unconsolidated and drain, so nakasarado all throughout the test yung ating drainage valve. So, kaya siya unconsolidated and drain. So, ito is a sample na more circle or a triaxial test on a cohesionless soil. So, nung say cohesionless, so ito yung value ng C, di ba? So, cohesion, ibig sabihin, yung value ng C natin dito, lang. Balik ako sa kulay black. So, yung value ng C natin is equal to 0. So, when we say cohesion, di ba para siyang yung x-intercept, or sorry, y-intercept doon sa mismong line natin. So, kung value ng C is 0, so mag-intersect yung line natin, yung failure envelope, dun sa mismong origin. So, ito yung itsura niya. And then, ito naman kapag cohesive soil, so merong value ng C. So, merong y-intercept. So, dito, wala atang nakalagay na differentiation ng ano. So, set natin dito na lang. Dito. So, pagdating kay sigma 1, so si sigma 1, ang pangalan niya kasi, so possible tinatawag na maximum normal stress. Dapat pala tinype ko na ito, no? Or major principal stress. Actually, magkakaiba kasi yung pangalan nila. Depende dun sa pagkakabanggit sa problem. Pero actually, pare-parehas lang din. Kasi maximum normal stress, major principal stress, And actually, meron pang iba't ibang pangalan, no? Ito yung mga common. So, maximum normal stress, major principal stress. So, yun yung sigma 1. So, ito siya, itong point na to. And then, pagdating naman kay sigma 3, kasi sigma 3, so ito is pwedeng cell pressure, confining pressure, or tinatawag din siyang minor principal stress, minor principal, or minsan tinatawag din siyang minimum. So, minimum normal stress. So, yan yung mga pangalan naman ni sigma 3, no? Si sigma, delta sigma, so actually, pwede rin siyang tawaging sigma 2. So, sigma 2 or delta sigma, so tinatawag siyang deviator. Blank yun naman na yung sulat ko. So, deviator or plunger stress. So, yan naman si delta sigma. Yung ating P, actually, na-define naman natin sa previous, parang nagkakatikan kay Mark-Coulomb criterion. So, ito yung ating friction angle. Theta is the angle of failure. So, remember the formula. That's 45 plus kalahati ng P. And then, tau F. So, here at failure. So, dito pala sa figure. So, ito is made. Ginawa ko kasi ito sa AutoCAD. So, si tau is mukha siyang T kasi dun sa, kay AutoCAD. So, wala akong mahanap na yung parang ganyan. So, kaya yun na lang nagamit ko. So, mukha siyang capital T. So, dito, pagdating kay cohesionless, so, yun yung mga, actually, parehas lang naman pagdating din kay cohesive. So, yan din yung itsura nung, or yan din yung mga parameters. So, parehas lang naman sila. Wala namang pinagkaiba, no? Pero dito, so, siguro tayo natin derive yung ibang mga formula. So, dito, merong mga triangles. So, expect na dapat kabisado nyo yung mga trigonometric functions natin. And then, kaya nyo mag-analyze ng mga triangles kung anong side yung hinahanap. So, basically, ganun kasi yung takbo or flow ng pagsasolve ng problem dito. Let's say, hinahanap ano yung value ng sigma 1, ganun. So, depende do sa anong given. So, more on trigo, konting geometry, yung kailangan nyo dito, no? So, dito, si radius, so, yung nagamit na rin natin kanina, para siyang square root ng x squared plus y squared. So, yung mga ganyang klase ng formula na kailangan kabisado, no? Si formula din ng angle of failure. So, 45 plus kalahati ng P. So, friction angle. And then dito, so merong isa na hindi common kasi na ginagamit. So, let's say, ito yung center ng ating circle, di ba? So, let's say, ito yung ating sigma 3. Ito yung sigma 3 natin. Ito yung sigma 1. So, yung center ng ating circle is equal lang dun sa average actually ng dalawang yan. So, para siyang sigma 3 plus sigma 1 divided by 2. Tapos, ang vertical coordinate niya, 0. Basically, ito coordinate na siya nung center ng inyong more circle. So, pwede niyang gamitin yun. And then, so considering, let's say, ito is A, B, tapos C. So, consider triangle A, B, and C. So, ito is right angle. Siyempre, that's the point of tangency. Tapos, ito is phi. So, drawing ko na nga lang. So, ito yung A, B, tapos ito yung center ng circle natin. So, ito si phi. Ito is right angle. So, etong part na to is basically, that's the radius. So, si radius kasi, based on sa radius ng mismo ng more circle natin, so pwede nyo rin sabihin na yung radius, ito is sigma 1, not Q, sigma 1 minus, sigma prime, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 divided by 2. So, when we say sigma 1 minus sigma 3 kasi, basically, yun yung value ng diameter ng ating more circle. So, dinivide mo ng 2, yan yung radius. So, based dito, no? So, pwede mo ring sabihin na sine P is equal to the opposite side yung radius. That's sigma 1 minus sigma 3 over 2 divided by, so itong side na to, so di ba ito mismo yung horizontal coordinate ng ating center, which is equal lang dito. So divided by sigma 1 plus sigma 3 over 2. Makakancel mo, this is basically equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 over sigma 1 plus sigma 3. So baka kasi ma-encounter nyo. So meron mga gumagamit kasi ng formula ng sign na to. Pero no need to memorize, no? If kaya nyo namang imagine yung triangle dito, na talagang so katawa lang yung kailangan nyo. So practice lang din if ever na hindi masyadong gamay no si trio. And then next, so for the series ng triaxial test, so ganito yung sample nun. Basically, ito yung more circle galing sa isang triaxial test, tapos more circle ulit ng isang triaxial test. So dapat under sila ng isang figure envelope. So yung value ng sigma 1, sigma 3, and so on. And then next, so for the unconfined compression test on saturated clay, so ito is a special type naman ng determination ng shear strength ng soil. So basically dito, ang present lang is axial stress. So papansin nyo dito. So yung sigma 3 niya, parang yung confining pressure, di ba, is 0. Tapos ang meron lang value is the sigma 1. So dito kasi sigma 1, so para siyang axial stress lang. So basically yung mapuproduce lang is normal stress. So, di ba sabi natin, si sigma 1, tinatawag din siyang maximum normal stress. And then dito, since ang value ng sigma 3 natin is 0, so nakadikit. So, pag sinabi kasi natin sigma 3, this is the distance from the circle na ito to the origin. So, kung 0 yung confining pressure, basically, yung circle mo nakadikit dun sa mismong origin. And then, pag unconfined compression test, so yung ating figure envelope is horizontal. Since horizontal yan, ang value ng angle of friction ay 0. And then sabi natin, kung saan nag-intersect sa figure envelope kay y-axis, so yun yung value ng cohesion. So dito meron tayong unconfined cohesion. So, cohesion for the unconfined compression test, so C sub U. And then, so actually, no, pagdating kay yung pangatlong type ng ating triaxial test, so ganito din yung itsura ng figure envelope pagdating kay UU test. So, paki-note na lang. Note for UU test, so yung ating P is also equal to 0 degrees. So, parang ganito din siya. And then, pagdating kay unconfined compression test, no, so para lang siyang ito, sabi natin. So, imagine niyo parang rod yan. So, ang failure natin will occur at the middle. So, pag nag-fail kasi to, ang itsura niyan para siyang nagbabulge dun sa gitna. So, let's say, ito yung original, no? Pag nag-fail yan, so yung failure, parang ganito yung itsura. So, ganyan. Tapos, yung failure is nandito banda sa gitna. So, papansinin niyo, no? Etong area ng failure dito sa gitna, so, mas mataba yan kumpara dun sa original. So, yung area dyan, let's say, tawagin natin area ng failure. Area at failure, tapos yung area na nandito is the area ng original. So, take note, yung ating normal stress kasi, pagdating kay unconfined compression test, siyempre, meron pa rin tayong value ng sigma and tau. So, dito, yung value ng ating sigma, so para lang siyang force over area, kasi nga, parang axial stress na lang yung nag-act dito. So, si sigma 1, basically sigma 1, yun na yung value ng sigma 1 dito. So, yan na yung maximum normal stress dun sa ating material. So, ito is expressed lang as the force acting on the area. Pero yung area na gagamitin natin, so, saan ba area nag-act yung F na to nung nagkaroon ng failure? So, hindi naman dun sa original, di ba? Dito kay area at failure. Wherein, mas mataba yung area at failure natin, mas malawak kaysa dun sa original. So, si sigma 1 natin is basically equal to F divided by the area at failure. So, ang question ngayon dyan, so paano natin ma-express si area at failure? So, ang formula na gagamitin natin for the area of failure is equal lang kay original area divided by 1 minus the strain. So, when we say strain, that is the deformation divided by the original length. For example, dito ko na lang pala drawing sa tabi. So, eto yung original na L niya. Tapos, nung nag-fail na, so ito lang yung kanyang L. So, dito basically merong change in the height. Ito yung delta na tinutukoy natin. So, area original divided by 1 minus delta over original length. So, yan yung ating area of failure. So, yan yung ating normal stress. So, pagdating naman kay shear stress, so medyo obvious naman, no? The shear stress at failure is basically equal lang dun sa radius ng Mohr circle natin. And then, sinasabi natin, the sigma 3 is 0. So, from the origin papunta kay sigma 1, that is the diameter. So, ito, radius to. So, basically, si shear stress is equal lang kay sigma 1 divided by 2. So, yan yung ating unconfined compression test. And we have the sample problem. So, mas okay na kung i-stop ko muna or start na lang tayo ng another lecture video.